Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for choosing Across the Fence. I'm Will Michael. Today we're broadcasting live at the Vermont Farm Show at its home here in Essex Junction, the Champlain Valley Expo in its day one. This annual event is the largest agricultural showcase in the state, and the next 3 days will feature food, fun, and farming with more than 30,000 people expected to come through the doors. For agricultural professionals, this is a chance to check new machinery and products and to meet with vendors and other professionals. For consumers, the farm show is an opportunity to sample Vermont food and learn about the diversity of agriculture in our state, from fruits and vegetables to cheese, ice cream, and other dairy products. Joining me this afternoon as our first guest is Vermont's Deputy Secretary of Agriculture, Allison Eastman. Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you, Will. It's a pleasure.
So tell us a little bit about what the farm show is today and why it's important.
Yeah, I like to think of the farm show as a glorified trade show. Here we are, as you can see, amongst us with all of these vendors. It's also the service providers. We'll see legislators walking through here, association folks. It's an opportunity for us to gather and discuss amongst our ag community as to what's going on within the network.
Well, there is a lot going on that I'm going to get to in just a moment, but right here at the farm show, what are some of the events or activities that you want to be sure that the general public is aware of?
Yeah, today going on, the Beekeepers Association and the Christmas Tree Association meetings are going on. Tomorrow, one of our favorite events is the Consumer Night, where the Agency of Ag will try to take back their award in cooking, the Capital Cook-Off with ours.
Which is just a great event because it really highlights our food economy.
It does, and it's the buy local market, so there will be local vendors here selling their product. Each one of the teams is given an amount of money to spend, and they spend that money within the buy local market, and then they have to put together a plate of goods which will be judged later in the evening, and it's my hope that we can gain our title back and beat my comrades from House Agriculture.
I do have to ask though, are you on the team?
I am not on the team purposefully, but it doesn't mean strategically I'm not behind the scenes planning.
Excellent, excellent. You did say the business of agriculture, particularly in dairy, there's a lot going on that I know our viewers are aware of. 2018, it was a very challenging year. I know you don't have a crystal ball, but when do things in dairy, are they going to get better, and if so, when?
Yeah, that's a good question that even our dairy economists are, currently struggling with answering. We continue at the agency to provide the support as we can. One thing I know growing up on a dairy farm is you cannot tell a farmer how to farm. There's many different structures, business models, there's folks diversifying, and we've spent a lot of time talking about diversification and what that looks like. As farmers come to us at the agency, we provide the services or we'll suggest services out there as far as farm viability, Farm First, the places that they can stop for help. As far as the dairy industry and prices, we see that they're stable. They're still not up to what they need to be for cost of production. We at the agency are working on having conversations. The Milk Commission has been meeting. We also are going to have a dairy summit meeting in Jay Peak on
coming up in April.
April 1st and 2nd. And we hope to have a platform where farmers can share their thoughts with us. And we hope to formulate something to bring to the national level, because we do know that this is something that will take national folks to fix.
Well, we're going to come back with you in just a moment. Thank you very much for those thoughts. At the farm show coming up on Thursday, the agency and its partners will present an update on some of the dairy issues that we've been talking about. There are a few numbers from 2018 that are likely to be kicked around at that meeting. In fact, last year, the number of dairy farms statewide fell from 762 to 699. And to put that in perspective, it's a little more than an 8% drop. Across the Fence's Keith Silva spoke with one Vermont farmer who's part of those numbers.
This past year hasn't been the happiest of times at Green Dream Farm in Franklin.
About a year ago, we sold our cows, and it wasn't just what happened a year ago. It's what's been happening over the last 3 or 4 years with the dairy economy.
Simply put, Wagner's cost of production was greater than the price he was paid for his milk.
We could have continued to milk, but it would have meant operating lines of credit and just continuing to ask our vendors to support us through these low periods. And we just thought it was a responsible thing to do for our business to discontinue.
Wagner's not alone. In Franklin County, a dairy farm went out of business every month in 2018. At the beginning of the year, there were 138 dairy farms, and by the end, that number had dropped to 125. That's nearly a 10% decrease. And what those numbers add up to is a big change for farmers and the community.
It costs an awful lot to make milk, and that money just basically gets pumped back through the local economy. There's some things that go beyond the local economy, but yeah, there's the veterinarian, there's the feed salesman, there's the feed companies, the fertilizer companies, the equipment companies. All those people that support the farms are having to struggle along with us, and at some point they're going to opt out.
Shortly after selling his herd, Wagner started boarding cows as a way to generate income. He may no longer be milking cows, but there's value in his land and barns. The question is, how much?
If milk prices recovered to a point where we thought it was worth getting back into milking, that's an option. We did transition the farm to be organic, so it'll be certified organic, and that's an option as well. I think if there was a potential buyer, we would consider that as well. I think our goal is to make sure we take care of our creditors, and that's going to be difficult because the facility itself has a certain value on the balance sheet, but it doesn't have that same value in the market. When you talk about the community, I think that's something that goes along with it. You're going to be starting to lose the value in these facilities, and some folks may not care, but it's certainly things that we've invested our lives in.
What's next for you? What's your plans moving forward, Chris?
Hard question to answer, though. I guess, what are you going to do next? I mean, it would be, when you're doing something like this for as long as I have, or since you're so immersed, I just hope to push the clutch in a little bit, I think, for long enough to decide, I think. But yeah, it's a pretty difficult situation to just get up and change. If we decided we wanted to move from where we live, then we'd probably be really actively looking at what we're going to do and where we're going to go. But my wife works in town as a veterinarian, and she's not looking to change. Our kids are in school, so yeah, we're not planning on just up and going. I got thrown more curveballs in the last couple of years to make myself wonder if it's the thing that I want to do if the markets don't really change and give us a good future at it. So while I loved it and continue to love it, it's not something that I would do without some soul searching, I think, at this point.
In Franklin, I'm Keith Silva with Across the Fence.
And we want to thank Chris for his willingness to discuss a very difficult and obviously a personal family issue. We also want to underscore that despite the difficult economic challenges, Vermont dairy farmers continue to meet or exceed new regulations that are improving water quality statewide. Let me turn back to Deputy Agriculture Secretary Allison Eastman. In addition to dairy, there are a number of ag industry professionals here. Who are they, and what type of positive impact do they have on our economy?
Well, we have the beef producers, the beekeepers, the Christmas tree producers.
And we need more of those, from what I understand.
Correct.
Yep.
Yes, the Tree Fruit Growers Association, as well as the Sheep and Goat Association. I'm sure there's many more that I'm leaving out. And as far as the impact that they have on our economy, one of the numbers as far as data that I like to shout from the rooftops is that there are 65,000 jobs in Vermont that tie back to the Vermont food system. Everybody plays a really significant role in that number.
A critical part. Now, there's another number that really deals with the future of farming that's well represented here, the FFA, Future Farmers of America. The Vermont chapter is involved in a number of events, they tell me, and things. How important is FAA to the future of farming, and specifically farming education?
Yeah, you know, today more than ever, I think ag literacy is something that's very important as we continue to see folks removed from the land. Our farms are, you know, essentially maybe getting bigger, though we still have a great landscape of homesteading farms, smaller farms, but folks are getting more removed from the land. So FFA, through their you know, leadership and their continuing of education, really provides that base for it. And I think, you know, their motto is learning to do, doing to learn, earning to live, and living to serve. And it's great to see the role that they play in our agriculture.
So I'm going to jump in because we're going to take a moment to hear from some of the Vermont FFA officers about their organization and their work. What is FFA?
FFA is, you know, about leadership, personal growth, and career success, mainly through agriculture education and just outreach to students to help them become better, of themselves, better versions of themselves.
So what are the two of you and other members of FFA doing at the farm show?
Well, we have a meeting that we open up in farm show, and then we go from there. We have activities throughout the day. We have CDEs, which is career development events that we have, and kids come across Vermont to compete in those.
Yeah, we have kids competing in a milk quality and products competition, a winter forestry competition, and a science poster competition.
Mm-hmm.
What is agricultural education today as opposed to your parents' or grandparents' generation?
Yeah, so I think when people think about agriculture, they think about the traditional farmer. However, that's not what it is today. And I think agriculture education has always been expanding to other subtopics. And today it deals a lot with technology. And so talking about ag classes and ag education, you see a lot of it in tech and vocational centers that revolve around technology and sustainability.
One of your interests specifically, Emily, is in public policy.
Yeah.
So it sounds to me as though FFA has helped facilitate that interest?
Yes, absolutely.
How so?
So I think one example is I attended a Washington Leadership Conference in my sophomore year of high school in DC, and so I got to learn a lot about leadership and how to be active in my community, and it was run through National FFA, so I got to relate to agriculture in that way, and I really expanded my skills of leadership and activism.
Brianna, what about you? What was your initial involvement?
Similar to Brianna here, I had family members also in FFA. My father was in FFA, my grandfather, and a couple uncles of mine. So it's been kind of a family tradition to go through FFA and to have that whole experience. And yeah, and then my advisor came up to me and was like, hey, you want to be a part of FFA, like our chapter? And I was like, sure, I'll give it a go. So. Mm-hmm.
If I understand correctly, you're working towards a degree in dairy management?
Yes.
So what is a dairy management degree in the 21st century? What are you wanting to do with that?
So at home, I work on my personal family dairy and a neighboring dairy as well. So I would like to hopefully expand my knowledge of that, not only on the dairy side of it, but also on the business side of it as well. So manage to hopefully combine those together and hopefully help either my family or the neighboring farm in furthering their business with that.
Well, good for you. Sounds like you have a lot going on.
Thank you.
What would you say that you've learned through FFA that will help you achieve those goals?
Just being able to put myself out there and just putting my name out there, being able to talk to people, because when I was younger, I did not want to talk to people.
So part of what I'm hearing you say is confidence, and,
yeah.
and that's a huge piece.
Everybody can get something out of FFA is something that I've noticed, and you can take it as far as you want. So if you want to go into leadership or you just want to build on your focus of ag industry, there's always a place for you, and everybody is welcome to join.
There is no shortage of FFA Blue Jackets here at the Farm Show, and they all do a great job of providing farm education to those who are here. We are just about out of time for today. I want to thank the Agency of Agriculture, Food and Markets, and specifically Deputy Secretary Eastman for being with us this afternoon. Also pointing out the Channel 3 News team will keep you up to date with live reports from the Farm Show today and tomorrow. And don't forget Consumer Night and the Capitol Kickoff, which are taking place here tomorrow afternoon and evening. Before we go, my thanks to Director Adam Wright back at the studios in Burlington, and our field producer and behind the camera today, my friend Joe Carroll. Joe, thanks again for your work. That is our program for today. We know you have choices, so thanks for choosing us. I'm Will Michael, inviting you to join us back here each weekday afternoon for another visit across the fence.